There we go. So this one will be recorded. So if you don't want anything you said recorded for posterity, make sure that you hold your questions to the end. No, I'm just kidding. Please ask questions as we go. I do want to share with you that my perspective on resumes is a system for endless edits, right? So it's an opportunity to adapt to circumstances as they present themselves. So somebody says, hey, we got this great opportunity. Can you apply right now before 4 o'clock? The answer should be yes, absolutely. Let me tweak my resume and I'll get that to you this afternoon, right? You can't do that with the way most people think about a resume or the way that most people structure their resume. They structure it as a monolithic stone that doesn't get changed. And in order to change it, you have to adapt it all out. So, as I said, everybody has an opinion on a resume, right? I do too. These are just my opinions. I want to share them with you so you have another perspective. I think a mistake that people make is they think a resume is a list of what they've done. And in fact, it's a marketing piece, right? So I don't know if any of you are familiar with marketing. Hey, whoa, it's where the parties are. But marketing, they have a model in there they call attention, interest, desire, action. And it's a model that they use to generate interest, right? And so this, in support of an advocate for you, should help capture this. So what is attention? Attention is, hey, I'm talking to you. Hey, Mr. Hiring Manager of Operations people, I'm talking to you. Well, that means not IT people, right? So that's focusing in on resumes showing you how you can help them with their needs. So think about when you go to the store, right? You're the consummate hiring manager in the grocery store. So you walk down the cereal aisle. What cereal do you want? You don't want any, well, maybe your kids want, how about that? But, right, it's, do you want oatmeal or do you want instant cereal, right? Like fast cereal, right? Do you want instant oatmeal or quick oatmeal or slow oatmeal? Do you want it with raisins? Do you want it, do you want sugar cereal? Do you want something healthy, right? My point is you can make those decisions without any help from the store because of the way it's marketed, because of the way it's packaged, because of the way the boxes are presented. You know what's inside that box. And so if you get a hold of that, that's what a resume does. It helps a hiring manager see what's inside your box. So a lot of people will tell me, I can do anything. And I invite them to notice that on their resume, the answer is no. You can do one thing exceptionally well, right? One profession. And if you want to do that, then make another resume. That's for a different target. It's okay to make 2 boxes of cereal that one's healthy, one's not, but they're different packages. So if that makes sense, then you'll see where I'm going with this. What I do is I build content blocks so they can be reused in all variations of resumes. So whether it's chronological or what's called a combination format, I've got a 1-page format that I want to share with you that I like a lot. And I like it because it helps the hiring manager make a dramatic connection with what you can do for them without having to wade through a bunch of stuff that doesn't help them. It forces a narrow view. Now, having said that, do I think it's appropriate in all times, in all persons and circumstances? Nope, absolutely not. That's why these blocks, these skill blocks, can be added to the top of any resume or wherever, even a chronological resume. So you can still reuse them without putting in a bunch of work that just gets wasted. So let's take a look at that. When most people sit down to create a resume, they start with thinking of the work history, like I said before, and then they start using job descriptions from their last job. The other thing that they miss is they don't make a professional declaration. Who I am, what I'm about, my job title, my profession, my capabilities, right? And so hiring managers don't read resumes like you would a book, right? They don't read it cover to cover, up and down, but most people write their resume like it's a history. And so there's a mismatch. And that TLDR is too long, it didn't read, right? So nobody I've met yet reads a resume. For like a hiring manager, they're scanning it to find something of value, just like you would in the grocery store. Right? You don't read the ingredients on the cereal box. You don't read everything on the box. You just read what's relevant. So that's what I want to share with you is these are what I call the building blocks of all basic resumes. The professional title, and I'll cover that in a second, key skills, and qualifications, which come from 5 job postings, not from your work history. Because a lot of times people will take their job description and try to make that a resume. And that's where they get into too long, didn't read. Is take the marketing content that they already gave you in job postings and incorporate that into your resume. The other thing that people miss is an accomplishment summary. And I have a process that I work people through that when they tell me I don't have any accomplishments, I respectfully beg to differ. Everyone has accomplishments. They just don't know how to quantify them or how to understand that they accomplished something, even if nothing came of their great ideas. Having an idea and sharing it is an accomplishment because it has potential for gain. So everybody has accomplishments. Education awards, right? Chronological work history can be compressed, and I want to show you that. So this is one of probably about 50 to 75 resumes that I have. I have a folder for each year that I do a resume. So every year, as I edit and adapt and change my resumes, they go into a new folder so I can keep the history. Make sense? So as you're looking at this, I want to take a pause and say, what stands out to you about this format in this version?
This is a lot unlike any resume I've ever seen.
Okay. In what ways? What's most striking?
It's basically one page. It's sort of data dense, and the fact that you've pulled out education, key skills, and testimonials on that column on the left hand, which really jumps out to me, as well as sort of blocking your experiences into a table. That's all different and impressive.
Thank you very much, Kevin. Other feedback or comments?
Yeah, I like the panel on the left side too. I used to do a newsletter with a panel and people liked it because your eye is drawn there, and I'm assuming you're going to tell us these are the most important things that you want to get out there right away. And yes, people will look on the right side, and if something on the left side catches their eye, then they'll say, oh, well, let me check out his experience. That's a nice big block right in the middle, very easy to read. So awesome.
Exactly right. Other feedback?
Yeah, I just had a quick question too, as far as your name's up there, but do you put contact information on there, or you figured that's not necessary? I'm just curious.
You probably can't see it up above the name in the banner is my contact info.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that was part of it.
Yeah, it's hard to see in the small version. Sorry about that.
Okay. No problem. That's perfect. Thanks.
Yeah, from a marketing point of view, this probably, I'm pulling your leg here. Yeah. So at least in my experience, this is I would call this a networking resume, because every time I talk to a recruiter or I get the rare opportunity to talk to a company, they always say, send me your full resume.
Sure. So a lot of times recruiters do that because they need to vet you, right? Not all, well, so let me pull out a couple caveats here. I've used this version. In fact, no, it wasn't this version. It was a version similar to this to get my last job. And then when I put it in front of the hiring manager, it had all the key skills and technologies that he needed at a glance. Now, I had a prior relationship with him, so it worked out well, right? But it was a great way to justify having me for an interview. I want everybody to know that I do have a chronological resume as well. And that's an important component to have should they ask for it or should it become part of the process, right? If you look closely at these, right, and we'll get into that, is like qualifications. That's a block of text that can go right onto a chronological resume at the top. And other than experience, the summary can go at the top of a chronological resume, right? Education and key skills can go at the bottom, right? So all the blocks of text that I wrote here are adaptable to any format that's required.
Yeah, I would just say the power of this is, because I have a one page or two, it doesn't look this good, but the feedback I get from it is, thank you for sending me a one pager to those executives or people that I am networking with, and I want to give them a quick, because they say, gosh, you didn't send me a 2-page or a 3-pager, and because I don't have time to read that. But the one,
right.
Yeah.
And on that note, I do want to, I'm not going to touch on it here, but for executive resumes, there's a book called Asher's Bible of Executive Resumes, and it's literally that thick. I kid you not. It is the size of my head. And it's all just examples of executive resumes, right? So you can get a real good picture of what he thinks executive resumes look like. The key part that I like about it, though, was he talks about, and it's all chronological, everyone is a version of a chronological. There's no one pager in there. And his point is a leadership resume needs to give the context of the challenge in the environment you were dealing with and how you addressed it for success. So you can't just say, achieved a 38% reduction in costs and a 48% improvement in sales year over year, right? You have to explain the context of it is the challenge that the company was having was they were being pressured by competitive pressures from the internet. I made that up, right? And then that led to realization that what we needed to do was to re-engineer our job descriptions and retrain our staff, which then resulted in year-over-year sales improvements, right? And the point being is the reason why that's important for executive resumes is they have to analyze, are you familiar with the challenges we're having? Not just, can you pull off an accomplishment? So an executive resume is an exception to this, right? It needs more context, right? You need to explain the setting or the context of the issue that brought about the accomplishment. So this is a brief look. Is there anyone else that had comments they wanted to share with us before I move on?
Yeah, I'd like to say something. I'd like to just go back to something you said earlier, is that the resume isn't the way to get the job. It's a supporting document for your networking activities. And in my experience in the past, the reason the HR managers want the more traditional resume is because they can feed it into an ATS and look at keywords and stuff like that. Something like this resume probably wouldn't go through an ATS very well, which fine, that's not its purpose. But I think that differentiates between this as an adjunct to your networking activities versus just, spamming HR managers with a resume.
Well, and I'll give a shout out to Nicole. Is a lot of times recruiters are on the hook for vetting your experience, right? So something like this won't fly for that because they need to see specifically in context where you got that skill.
Yep.
Right. So this obviously, did I get the skill of working on net management projects at Dahl, or did I get that at HB Fuller, or did I get it at HCI? How many years do I have? You have no idea. And so something like this doesn't serve the purpose of vetting someone, right? So in context, it does depend on who you're sending it to. So absolutely, it's a great for what it does. So we preach the 20-minute networking strategy here, right? This is a great adjunct to that, to support that. So
I just had a quick question on the testimonials.
sure.
Is that your references basically, or you mean you keep those up to date too?
Yes, I do actually.
To who you're sending it?
Yep, I have so what I didn't show here actually is, if you think of each of these like testimonials, I actually have a sheet for testimonials. And every time I get one, I put it in there. I have a sheet for qualifications and accomplishments. And every time I get a new one, and key skills, right? Each one of these is actually a separate sheet in my system. And so I go into those documents and cherry pick what I want.
Do people ever push back and say, well, we didn't ask for your references, or it's not really about that?
Well, that's a great question. I actually haven't had that, but again, to be honest, and like everybody's been saying, right, I normally don't submit this to an ATS. Yeah. I have, but only if I've had a network connection to the person, right, where the recruiter already knows, like the recruiter has already had somebody endorse me to them, right, or the hiring manager. But yeah, ordinarily, I try to adapt this for every job, and that's part of the system, right? Is how can I quickly and easily change testimonials to suit a job? One asks for leadership skills. Okay, well, do I have any testimonials for leadership skills? Let me look on my testimonial sheet. Look, there's one. Let me put that in there. And of course, because of the space, right, those are heavily edited. People are rather wordy sometimes. So I've gleaned out the very tiny essence of, the 1 or 2 points they said. But that's the same with all of this. Qualifications come from the job postings, like I said before. Let me any other feedback or comments? Yep. All right. Well, let me move on. I want to explain this piece here, right, is the summary is not where you list everything you did, right? The idea here is to tell them something they don't know or can't get from looking at the resume. And so I think of it as like the essence or impact of who you are and what you can benefit them, right? So this is the, like kaboom serial title, right? I'm an experienced large enterprise business analyst, or I'm a business coach, or I'm a whatever it is. That's right up front. And the reason is, and I often will tell people that I'll switch my name below the title, because people don't go out to recruit and hire for Alan Hills, right? There's no job posting or job title for Alan Hill.
But they should.
Exactly. Thanks. Thanks. But they do hire enterprise business analysts or project managers or, whatever, right? So they're looking for project manager. They're not looking for Alan Hill. So that's why I often encourage people to flip that and put that on top. But neither here nor there. If you look at the summary, and I'm not encouraging you to read it, right, is you put the basics of how somebody's going to vet you, the number of years of experience, the key industries you've worked in, and then if you're looking for a direct contributor role, you want to put skills in there, key skills, right? Certifications, those kind of things. And of course, military veteran, right? But if you're looking for more of a leadership role, or a team or support group, I want to put some accomplishments in there as well, and that's what the bottom paragraph is. But the purpose of all of this really is to establish your credibility. So if you think about how like authors do it, this is kind of where I stole this concept was, if you look at the back flap or the back page of an author of any book, business book anyways, well, Joe Smith is the greatest person since sliced bread. He's had all these many executive positions, and he served in these industries, and he's done talks at CEO level this, and he's consulted globally. And then he has all these certifications, blah, blah. All this is to build credibility, right? And so that's what this does, builds credibility. Yes, I am an enterprise business analyst. Look at the things that enterprise business analysts do. That's what I see here, right? That's what this intention is. So, of course, it was project management, it'd be different essences. So this is the experience piece. I don't use this in a chronological resume. Obviously, this isn't necessary to have. If you're going to have chronological, you don't need this piece, right? This is the reason. This is the secret to why the one page works, is because I've consolidated the work history into one block. So that allows me the space that I need. And the reason why this works is because it validates that I've got progressive experience, progressive responsibility. So I started as a service manager, ended up as an IT security analyst.
And do you have any rule of thumb how far back you go? Experience that you want to show them?
Generally, they say last 10 years is generally what people talk about. If you see on the resume, I said 20 plus years experience. So I went back significantly further back in this version. But it was because I wanted to showcase the service manager, like I've been doing this, because I said 20 plus years. So I wanted to show that I had the experience.
I usually coach 7 years back, unless the experience prior to that is directly relevant to the job that you're applying for.
That's good. Thanks, Nicole.
Did you say 7 years?
Yep. I don't know why. I've read it in a couple journals, articles, and whatnot. So I feel like I'll go 7 years back, or just kind of cut off the resume, because that's usually 2 or 3 positions on average. But again, anything after that isn't directly relevant to the job for which you're applying, you can typically remove.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but I would just say that some of us are a little bit older, and if I only had 7 years of experience on my resume and I showed up at a job interview, that wouldn't go over very well.
Yeah, and I think because a lot of Alan's, and to Alan's point of a lot of the resumes I'm seeing are the fleshed out, in a recruiting seat, the vetting. So usually something for to help identify if somebody's qualified, it needs to be somewhat recent. So if it was something that someone touched 10 years ago but hasn't touched it since, that probably isn't going to be necessarily a qualifier. So that's for me, for specific, in a chronological based resume.
Yep. All right. So thank you for that. Qualifications, please don't read all of those. It won't help you. There's too many there. Let me start there. But the point that I want to come to is I take these from 5 job postings. For any identity that I'm claiming, I go to the job postings, not my work history. And there's a reason why I do that. One is because it's marketing. I'm speaking their language, right? I'm targeting this to what they need to see. But the other thing is it's a great jog for me to go, oh yeah, I have done that. Well, of course, yep, that I've got experience doing that. It captures the skills and abilities and talents that I didn't remember I had. And so this is what makes it easier for me to identify what skills I have and what I should be speaking to. Now, the reason why I do 5 is because some are going to be good, some are going to be not so good, but you're going to get a good sense for a consistent set of requirements that companies have for your profession. And it's an 80-20 rule. You're going to capture 80% of what they're going to ask for in any particular job posting if you've looked at enough of them. So the format that almost every job posting uses for the qualifications is number of years of experience, education, hard skills, and soft skills. And it's generally in that order. So I try to format and reflect that back to them in a format that they can use kind of as a checklist and go check, check, yep, got it, good. And so that they can match my resume to their qualifications expeditiously. Because anything I can make it faster for the people that are trying to get me hired, that's a win. Any questions on qualifications? I will say this, I strongly encourage you to do the exercise of going to see the job postings. Oftentimes when I work with people who do 3, I'm like, you phoned it in. You're gonna have to do 5. And the reason for that is because it builds out that block to be relevant to today's marketplace.
I think it gives you a lot of, keywords, making sure everything's different too.
Yeah.
Excel's is the only thing I see repeated. Otherwise, it's good that, you're not using the same thing over and over again.
That's a good point, Mike. Thank you. All right. I don't know why my clicker's not working. Oh, sorry. Hang on. Okay, so key skills also comes from the job postings. And this is usually found in the narrative. Our ideal candidate will have these tasks and duties and responsibilities. Comes with a perspective of this, right? Sometimes these are in the qualifications, but more often they're in the narrative format. I don't know why my clicker doesn't work. So at this point, I wanted to keep this kind of short because I wanted to do an example with anybody that wants to, go out and look at the job postings and see how we would build that out. We don't have to do we don't have to do 5 job postings by any stretch. But I'd be happy to do look up a couple of them and show you how I would do it. This is the actual resume that I was using, just so you could see it in kind of a whole version format. This is more clear and larger to see, I guess. So that's the resume as it would look presented to somebody. Is there somebody that wants to be a guinea pig with me and do a couple of job postings?
I'll do one.
All right, talk to me. What's the job?
Sales operations leader.
Okay. So when we do this, so sales operations manager?
Yeah, manager, director, leader. Yep.
Okay. I take out the city, state, and zip because we're not going to apply for any of these jobs necessarily, right?
Yep.
It matters the words, not the actual position. So here's one. What I look for immediately in this is, so here's a good responsibilities, right? So this is where I might take some of the key skills. And the qualifications is kind of weak, right? 4 bullets.
Mm-hmm.
So what we'll do, that's interesting. So they require a bachelor's degree and then they made bachelor's preferred. That's unique. Okay. I don't know why I can't see. Hang on just a second. I'm going to have to pull up Notepad. I don't have Word on this one, so I have to pull up Notepad. Okay, so that's one, and I'm going to just do a couple here, right? We're not going to do all 4, but I want to show you how I make them into one block. Sales and operations managers, that's probably too low. Well, I guess, I don't know, maybe, depending on the environment. This looks like the same job company. Interesting.
Huh. They just cut and pasted and you reused it.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, qualifications. And see here they put qualifications and skills, so. I don't know why my dashboard's not coming up. And so sometimes I'll put a hyperlink to separate them so that I know which one's which. And then I can go back and reference it if I need to. But what we're going to do is build out a block out of 5 of these. My qualifications. So we're going to use the format of hard skills, soft skills. So let's go with education. They want bachelor's, right? So we're not actually going to use education. Oh, I should ask you, what's your degree?
Well, no, I have a bachelor's and a master's.
Bachelor's in what?
Engineering.
Is there a major?
Electronics.
And your other degree?
Master's in management leadership.
Is there a major? Is it leadership?
Leadership.
Now, you may not write it exactly like this. My point being is I want to build the block of text, right, or content. But neither here nor there, we see we meet the minimum requirement of bachelor's degree.
Yeah.
So, you know, we passed the first qualification gate, if you will. Because look, here it is again. All right. So now they're asking for experience, right? 3 years of sales support, sales operations, blah, 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 blah. Experience with CRM systems. So let's just grab, actually, here's this next one too. All right, so now this one wants 5 years of sales operation experience. So, oops, why didn't that? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to write this above it just to be more clear, right? Tell me about your number of years of experience in sales, sales support.
Oh, mine?
Yep, we're doing yours.
Yeah, 7. We can only go back 7, I heard.
Well, for sake of argument, how many years of experience do you have with sales support, sales production?
Yeah, 20 years.
Okay, so you may not use that, right? You might do like even between 5 to 7, 7 plus, 10 plus, right?
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want. And I would go direct sales and enterprise, right?
Yep.
So there we've covered all these sales. Now, is there anything in here particularly that jumps out that you're like, yeah, I want to cover that, right? Like specifically, they say CRM and SaaS. Do you have any experience with that?
CRM, Salesforce.
Okay. How many years?
2.
And that's SaaS?
No, Salesforce, the CRM system. Salesforce.
Oh, CRM. Yeah. I'm not sure if they use one word or whatever.
It's one, but that's fine.
Okay. How many years with software as a service in healthcare or anything like that?
I would say 2 years on that as well.
Okay. Any other industries?
Industrial and technology.
Now, having said that, I'm using parentheses and making typos and stuff like that. Ignore all that, right? This may not be how you actually write it, right?
Right.
But the point being is I'm taking from what they provided me.
Yep.
So how many years of management leadership experience?
40.
Say that again.
30 plus.
So we'll go with 10 plus?
Sure.
I'm making up some of this just so we can get to the point, but
yep.
Can you see how I'm building this out of the requirements that are in the job posting?
Yep.
Right? Any questions from anybody so far how we're doing this?
I like it.
So here we have analytical skills and problem solving. Those are hard skills.
Yep.
Right? And then here we have the soft skills right under it. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling down here. Can you all see my screen pretty well? Is that better?
That's better.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
Okay, so, sorry. Here's the soft skills. And then, oh, sales operations, 5 years. Did we meet that? Yeah, 10 years. Okay. So as you can see, this pretty much builds itself, and we can go on, but I think everybody gets the gist, don't they? Any questions about that?
All good. Have never seen this ever.
Okay. So as a recap, what was most helpful for everybody?
I like how you created a library of categories and use those to select from to make it really easy to tailor your resume for a particular position.
Thank you for that. Let's see if I can show you some of that. Resumes.
I just wanted to clarify that I don't think I articulated it well, but so the 7 years, like you only want to go for me when it's the like specific positions with the bullet points listed. So I feel like if that's, I don't know, it's different than the one-page resume that you showed, but I was not encouraging individuals to say they only had 7 years of experience when they have 20. So I just wanted to clarify that. I don't know if I articulated that correctly.
We understand you're a Packer.
So here's an example of my achievements, right? They're broken out by category. And so clearly I'm not going to use all these. None of these are relevant to everything, right? You have to pick and choose. But I've got them categorized by the type of job I might apply for: technology, business analyst, speaker, trainer, social media, reports, leadership, right? And if you'll notice, these are in a format of presentation style. So I can take, if I wanted to do sometimes people will recommend a portfolio, right? So I can take this and print, I can select out what I don't want, right? And make it a one page, but I can print that with my testimonials and my other stuff as supporting docs and make a portfolio for people. So let me see if I can show you the testimonials. See, there's all my resumes right there. So here's my skills inventories. This one may not be in the format that I'm thinking of, but I've got them captured. But let me do testimonials. So here's my testimonial sheet. Mike, you were talking about that? Here I've captured them all, and I've got them in a format that's presentable. So I can literally copy and paste from any of these that speak to leadership or technical skills or, you know, what have you.
So when you put it on your resume, do you leave the year that it was given to? So you have that on the bottom of them?
Well, on the resume, there's not a lot of space, so I generally don't.
Okay.
And the reason why I do that is because it helps validate, like I said, back to the point of a recruiter, right? If they're going to, you know, call somebody for a reference or something, right? It helps capture, because if you look at my work history, then you can know where this testimonial came from, right? So it's a back and forth. I don't think recruiters are going to do that, really, truthfully, but it's available if they want it. So, but yeah, I don't usually put that on the resume, actually. I've even got, I guess I don't have, it must be in a different one. I've got personality profiles that I've done. Yeah, here we go. So I've got strengths. I've got all my 34 themes sorted out. I got standout reports, right? So I've got all sorts of things that I can add from those building blocks as well. A lot of times corporations will do standout results or strengths finder. I've got those results handy, available to me if I need them. So like here's a, oh, that's not it. I don't know what that is, actually. I honestly don't know. So that's really where I focus in on. There's another format that's called a Gorilla Resume format. I don't know if you've ever seen of this. But it has logos of companies you've worked for, which is designed in that marketing format and framework to capture the interest of the person that is reading it. So that's another version. I don't actually use that.
Can you go ahead, back to your master resume again?
Sure.
I just want to get it in my mind.
Yep. Let me do that. Business analyst 2.
Oh, I'm sorry, not this one. The big resume. The one you build from.
Oh, the accomplishments?
Yeah. Well, I thought you had your. Maybe I misunderstood. No, it wasn't this. It was before you went into the segments.
Oh yeah, that was the one I just pulled up. That was this one. Are you talking about in the presentation, maybe?
You just had it up about 5 or 6 slides ago.
Oh, let me pull up the presentation again.
Not this one. It wasn't a one-pager. It was your multiple-page one.
I didn't show a chronological one.
No, okay. So I don't know what you call it then, but it was kind of it would look like a master something that you built from.
Yeah, it's a variety of like testimonials. So here I've got a testimonial sheet, and then I've got an accomplishment summary.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm thinking of your achievements.
Yep. Sorry, let me go in there. And so then I've got this format for, okay. It was viewed as a 2-page. I don't know if I can pull out a 2-page on this. Sorry.
Oh, I just thought you had something that maybe it was your yeah. Okay.
So I'll pull from these blocks for my achievements section.
Got it.
So that's the piece. These are the only things that I pull. I don't pull my qualifications. I don't have that's not true. I have a list of them that I've captured from job postings, but I don't pull from that generally. I try to pull from the job posting for my qualifications.
Okay, cool.
Other comments or feedback or? No? All right.
Oh, good.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's great. I love the modular approach. You know, you get everything ahead of time, and that way, like you said, last minute somebody you know, they need a resume in an hour, you can go, you know, pick, and boom,
Yep.
you got the, you know, resume pulled together. It's a lot of work to set that up front, definitely, but it pays off. You know, if you're out there in the fight looking for that job, it makes it so much easier to customize the resume when someone calls looking for, you know, the information. So I think that's a great method, great system.
Thank you.